It is now autumn. We need to start wearing the appropriate fragrances. This is a 2 out of 10. This is a 4 out of 10. A little bit better, 6 out of 10. Oh, we're getting good now. 8 out of 10. And finally, a 10 out of 10 autumn fragrance. For me, it is nearly impossible to get 10 out of 10 for a fragrance. There are several categories one has to consider to give that score. For this video, the 10 out of 10 scores are purely being given for scents, so it keeps things a little bit more simple. We usually like to do a variety of scenarios to wear fragrances in these videos, but we're going to keep the list a traditional top 10 list. Simply top 10 fragrances that I think are perfect in terms of their scent for autumn time. What does that mean? It means that it's getting a little bit more dense and thick in these scent profiles, but still being balanced enough and also still making you comfortable enough. I feel like autumn is the season of comfort and being indoors more compared to the summertime. It sort of is picking hairs. It's more of a niche that is specific for the fragrance community, but it should be still a fun video. Let's get into it, guys. Class is in session. When I'm sipping on my pumpkin spice latte, I personally would love to smell like this. Roche's Mustache EDP. Okay, so this actually might be a 10 out of 10 in all categories. It's got the scent profile, the performance is solid, it's got excellent wearability, and it's got excellent price value as well. It's a clone of YSL Tuxedo. Essentially, it's a fresh, sharp rose fragrance that works very well for a man. The only potential drawback, depending on who you are, is that it's a very softly projecting fragrance. It lasts 8 hours, but don't expect a big amount of projection from this. So think about that before you get this, but otherwise this is a safe blind buy. When I'm out in the forest crunching leaves, this is the fragrance I want to wear. The Leaks Oncre Noir Extreme. Again, this actually might be a perfect 10 out of 10 in all categories. For how expensive and niche this smells, it's a steal for the price. I don't think everyone will like this, but I think most people will. It smells like a dark woody forest with this beautiful patchouli dry down, a bit earthy and sweet, and lasts a good amount of time, about 12 hours, with a soft to moderate projection. Excellent wearability as well. If you have any positive affinity for dark fragrances, this is a safe blind buy, and I think it's easily the best in the Oncre Noir line. When I'm strutting in the office and I want people to smell my expensive cologne, this is what I recommend. Acqua di Parma's Sandalo. Sandalwood is the perfect fall wintertime note. It is sexy, warm, masculine, and this is an unforgiving sandalwood. This punches you right in the face with the sandalwood notes here. It's got the Cologne barbershop citrus freshness up top, and then the sandalwood is thick and creamy and just lasts non-stop for at least 12 hours with a moderate projection. This is not a compliment monster, I will admit that, but this still makes you smell like the most boss-like person in the room. It makes you smell elegant, mature, dress well with this fragrance. Something like I'm wearing right now is the kind of ideal fit you'd want to go for with Sandalo. Fall is a perfect season to start bringing back out your leather jackets. When you want to pretend like you ride a bike, this is the first fragrance I recommend. Tom Ford's Ombre Leather. If you want to start having leather in your collection, this is the best beginner leather fragrance, bar none. It's purely that, really. It's got some supporting notes to make it not smell harsh. Overall, it's got Tom Ford's fantastic perfumery behind it with very smooth leather notes. It's got sort of a signature vibe behind it. You could wear this as your signature scent most of the year round, but I do think obviously it works best when you're wearing a leather jacket. It's sexy, and I think it does smell more masculine than it does feminine, even though it is regarded a unisex fragrance. And then staying on the theme of leather, I was very close to not actually including this fragrance in this video. Dior Homme's Parfum. This fragrance is challenging for me, but I cannot deny that in fact this is actually a 10 out of 10 in terms of its scent. This is a leather fragrance that if you do not wear it, it will wear you. I personally feel I can't do this fragrance justice. You have to be a particularly composed, boss-like, masculine personality for this. It is leather and iris. It's a beautifully, perfectly blended, in my opinion, fragrance that has this very smooth, smoky leather effect to it. It's a powdery leather that just smells dark, mysterious, extremely interesting. I was going to put Dior Homme Intense instead of this. That's a more safe fragrance, but I actually do think the perfumery here is better, but it's not as mass appealing. I'm not sure when you would wear this. I don't think it's about the occasions. I think it's more about your personality. I think everyone should try Dior Homme Parfum because it's an experience for sure. But then you realize you like the idea of Dior Homme Parfum, but you want something that's more easy to wear. This is a fragrance for people like me, and what I recommend. Prada's L'Homme Intense. Easily the best Prada fragrance out there, and yet a lot of people sleep on this. They focus way too much on Prada L'Homme because of Jeremy, I think. I think this is a lot more interesting than Prada L'Homme. It's got, again, some notes from Dior Homme Parfum, iris and leather, but this is a lot more focused on the powderiness, not the dark leather. It's got some tonka bean in here, so it's a more sweet, intense powderiness in here that still makes you smell mature, elegant. This gets a good amount of compliments. This is easier to wear, lasts 10 hours. I think this is a very much sexy fragrance overall that, again, it's going to make you stand out. So it's more about your personality rather than when you'd wear it. But if you do want a cold weather signature, Prada L'Homme Intense should not be slept on. But you think to yourself, okay, forget all that. I just want to smell like sex on legs. Give me the sexiest fragrance you got for autumn, Omar. La Nuit de l'Homme's Le Parfum. This could be worn in the day, but ideally this is a nighttime, sexy date night fragrance. This is a very much underrated flanker in the La Nuit de l'Homme line. I know the new Blue Electrique is getting a lot of hype, but we can't get it in the UK currently. Hopefully I'll review that soon. Otherwise, do not sleep on this. I think this is better than the original La Nuit de l'Homme currently. It lasts about 6 hours, so it's got better performance. It's a bit more peppery and piercing instead of the smooth cardamom. So I always call this the bad boy brother of La Nuit de l'Homme. So I think, again, leather jacket, this works well. Otherwise, it's just generally a big compliment getter for myself and friends who have bought this on my recommendation. These last two fragrances will be oud, more specifically, rose and oud, which I think is a perfect combination for the autumn time. Starting off with Fragrance Dubois New York Intense. This was sent in to me by Fragrance Dubois, but that's because I've actually smelled this years ago and I've always known how fantastic this smells. This is one of the most masculine smelling fragrances in their collection, but I do think it's unisex overall anyways. I think anyone who wears this is going to get a lot of compliments. This smells expensive. This is a nice natural oud. It's very smoothly done. It's got oud and rose. It's got some similarities to Jubilation 25 from Amouage as well, but I feel like it's a more easily wearable version of that fragrance. I think if you do wear this, you will just smell sharp, fresh. You'd be getting a lot of heads turned towards you because of this. Wear this in any environment, and again, I think you can wear this most of the year round, probably 3 out of the 4 seasons. This last fragrance is one of my most prized possessions in my collection. Sometimes I don't know when to wear it because I feel it's actually too perfect. Guerlain Alexandria II. A super expensive fragrance, but I do think you are getting your money's worth. Where Fragrance Dubois New York Intense lasts about 8 to 10 hours, a moderate projection. This is a little bit closer to the skin because it's extremely oily. And if you apply this, you're going to have to commit because this lasts about 24 hours. It's got beast mode longevity. I go 2 sprays and I can smell this on myself for a whole 24 hours. It's got a bit of a more sweeter take on the rose and oud, but still overall perfectly balanced and fresh. And those are the kind of fragrances you want for autumn time. Fresh with some sweet facets in there. I think this is a masterpiece. There is zero synthetic harshness from this. When you're paying these kind of price tags, you're getting a different level of perfumery. It applies for both of these last 2 fragrances in this list. And don't forget, Anna, who was in one of our previous videos and was brutal with her opinions on fragrances, gave this one of her highest scores. You can tell this is the highest echelons of perfumery. That concludes the video, guys. As usual, I'm about a month late in creating this video title, but hopefully it still gives you guys time to rock the best stuff in autumn. As always, we want to know your opinion. What is your perfect 10 out of 10 autumn fragrance purely through the scent? So don't even think about performance and all the other categories. Make sure to check out our other videos, such as those of you in the southern hemisphere who are going into summertime. Check out our top 20 summer fragrances video. We'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.